I find myself like fear literally is like my biggest nemesis. Like it's my biggest thing that I have to conquer. I feel like I've been so scared throughout my life that it's like a challenge that keeps coming. And obviously everyone has fear and you know things that they have to address that are change is scary, this and that, but I
Yeah.
don't feel like I've fully like addressed it, conquered it, stood up to its face and been like, okay, and then moved through it. Like I have a hard time with that. And I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people, get frozen in place because of that fear, because fear of failure, fear of being a fraud, fear of I don't got what it takes, whatever it is, which a lot of times is a lie. It's like a story we're telling our in our head. Like, for example, like I can think back to my life. I've always been able to succeed. I've always excelled at what I do. So why in this new, journey that I'm on, why am I so afraid when like I guess consciously I know I can do it, but I feel like that subconscious bit back there, this program that's running from something that happened to me when I was young, is just like reeling me back. Like, no, no, man. Oh no, you definitely can't do that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm just trying to survive. Like, can I get a win from this? I mean, like, come on. I'm just trying to make it through.
Can I get a witness?
Can I
Can I
get a
get a little
witness? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I get it. Well, think about it this way. You are, by the time you're 35, which you're not yet, but the time you're 35, 95% of your brain is programmed. And 95% is that subconscious program, right? So when you say like consciously, I know, well, you're probably only working with maybe 10, let's just say 15%
That's
right now
that's
of your
giving it a
brain.
little extra 15%.
Well, you're what? You're 27, 25.
25.
25, 25. So yeah, I mean, like there's still a lot that could be. You have a lot more bandwidth there in the program that can still be programmed. So there's it's still very malleable. Although we do know that the brain with neuroplasticity is it can change.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's not like it's set in stone. But what I just love to tell people and what I remind myself is fear is a facade. It's a lie. It's just a lie, and you're basically telling yourself you're separate and that you aren't cared for by God. I look at it as wherever we came from, whether you think we came from the heavens, you think that God created us, you think evolution, and we came from, I have people say we're from different planets, all of us, and we have soul tribes and all that crazy stuff. But wherever you think we came from, we didn't come all that way to be on this earth and then be controlled by fear. That would be insane.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. So that is one thing I tell myself, that this is an experience. We came here through the stars, through the planets, through the sun, and we're here now. And as Joan of Arc said, we were born for such a time as this.
Oh, me?
Well, you just talked about how you were afraid. I don't know. Do you want me to talk how I was afraid or
I
what I
want
went through?
I'd like you to talk about like how you overcome fear daily, because honestly like it is a bit of a daily thing. I mean, every day you have to choose, are you going to give in to it or are you going to move through it? I mean, that's why we created the fear fun over fear challenge, because it's like to create awareness in yourself, choosing every day what you're going to choose. But it is hard because like you're saying, like we do have these programs that where when our bodies are controlled and things are decided for us with the subconscious 95 or 90% of our brain. We got these things that we're fighting that we can't even see. It's like, how do you do it? How do you overcome that? How do you work every day to get a little closer to conquering those fears and moving through them?
Great, great question. So every morning that I get up without fail, I wake up and I just say, thank you. I'm here another day. So I totally acknowledge the powers that be, that I am still here in this human body, in this form, and I am so happy to be alive. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do after I use the restroom, brush my teeth, I come back to my bedroom and I do a meditation. Some days, if I wake up late and things are crazy, I will only do 5 to 10 minutes. But today, this morning, I actually, it was funny, I had a hard time sleeping and I was just like, what am I going to do? Let's do a meditation. So I did an hour-and-a-half pineal gland meditation. And in that meditation, I was so grateful. Like I started crying because I just started thinking of everything of what I have access to on this earth. And I mean, from my lungs are clear, from my health to my daughter, to this adorable house that I live in, to the city I'm in, to my amazing little puppy that I absolutely love, to the car I drive. And I literally just was so grateful. And I just saw like just how breath, literally taking a full breath. If you just do it right now. That releases endorphins and that gives your body pleasure. Just the ability to breathe. So gratitude to me is the most important thing that you must do. You must start with every morning, throughout the day, or the end of the day, and that to me sets me up right perfectly. And then my meditation practice. And I also just look at fear as, I learned this years ago. I've done sales for, probably 25 years, and it's false evidence appearing real. It's all just something that isn't true. And I've proven that myself over and over again. I was married or with my husband for 17 years. And when we split up, he was the main breadwinner. Although I was working, he made literally 10 times the money I did. So for me to, have to venture in the world, I was fearing for my survival. I mean, just my ability to have a home with me and my daughter. And I was terrified. And that was a real fear. But everything always kept working out. I wanted to have a coach. And I remember it was during a rocky time in our divorce. And I hadn't been getting any money yet. And we were still in a really, a battle of everything. And I was just like, I don't know, like I hired this coach. I don't know how I'm going to pay her. I need her desperately to make money and to be able to focus. And guess what? I just, started praying and like, what am I going to do? And I just told her, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to pay you. She's like, let's not worry about it. I know that you want this and I want it for you. Let's work out a payment plan. And for 6 months, I think I ended up coaching with her for over 2.5 years. We did payment. And it was beautiful. I mean, she was like $1,000 a month and we worked it out. But because of her help and because of my just like knowing that I needed help right now, it was beautiful. So again, like the universe, God, source, whatever you want to say, always provided for me. I was never, ever alone, ever through the whole process. Even the worst times when I literally remember I had like dollars, like had where you get all your coins, like we have these.
And you got the top ramen in the cupboard.
No, I never eat top ramen. No, I will never eat that.
You didn't go that low.
Yeah, but you get these, all your coins, and you take them to the coin place, and
yeah.
I had to do that several times just to go buy groceries, and I remember sometimes I was more afraid than others, but then I thought, it always works out. It never not does. You're always going to be taken care of. You're always going to have a place to live, even if it's maybe someplace you don't want to live. You're always going to have something to eat. You have it, and it's just
always have a chance to make it better too.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's so important, like you said, to focus on gratitude, because think about it. If you're in those times and you're just like really getting down on yourself and you're like, you just spiral into a downward, then maybe the opportunities that would be available to you for just like being grateful for what you do have in the moment, you're not going to see those opportunities, and it's not going to allow you to continue and move out of whatever situation you're on, or out of that fear.
We are a match for all of our circumstances. Whether or not you consciously are aware of it, any circumstance you are in is because that is your vibration. That is your vibratory field. So the fastest way to change your outward situation is to change yourself
Mm.
and to change your state, elevate your state, right? It's
Mhm.
always, they always talk about raise your consciousness. I didn't really understand that years ago. I mean, I always kind of knew, okay, raise my consciousness. Like, what does that believe? What does that mean? Raising your consciousness, meaning raising your level of understanding, a
Mm.
new awareness of how life operates, a new way of thinking, right? Albert Einstein said, the same level of the problem is not on the same level of solution.
Yes.
So, you know, when you get stuck and you're trying to solve something, you're trying to go for it and it's not working. It's because you're at the level of the problem.
Mm.
You need to raise your level of consciousness, your level of thinking, awareness
Mhm.
outside of what you're in right now, and everything around you will change.
100%. That I've seen that so many times. Seen that so many times. It's so
Yeah.
true. And so, would you say that? Would you suggest people to find a mentor, paid or unpaid? Do you think that that is something when people are going through big transitions, like you think like if you want, or did it really help you get through? Like, what's your suggestion?
Oh, 100%. I have had coaches for at least 12, oh my God, I want to say 13, maybe 13, 14 years. And the
Wow.
time before then, when I didn't have coaches, I had salespeople, or I'm sorry, I had sales managers,
Mm-hmm.
or I had other people in organizations that I looked up to, or they would recommend books to me, or they would say mentors. I've always had some sort of mentors. I believe 100% in having a coach. I think it's necessary. When people tell me they can't afford it, I said, you're lying. You're lying. No, I'm sorry, you are. You could eat, like literally eat less food, or don't take a vacation for a year, or get a different car, or like whatever it takes. I have always done whatever it takes to have a coach. I believe in them 100%. And I want to go back to what you said, like what actions people could take when they're stuck in fear. It's like the universe is bold. Look at nature. Nature is bold as AF. So we've got to stop this, like, oh, we're only this, or we're only capable. You have to be so bold. And when you step out, all the forces that be will rush to your aid. They're like, oh, wait, we got a real one over here. This one actually believes she can do it. She actually has faith. Okay. Archangel Michael, get off your smoke break. Come down and help this one. I mean, it's like, oh, she really wants to do this thing. And so literally the universe is always conspiring for us, and they're looking for people that are actually want to move forward, that want to do this. And they're bored because we aren't doing it. I had my the last coach I had last year, she was friggin' amazing. I loved working with her. She was so funny. And she was talked about like building through self-esteemable acts. Like she's like, when I get in the shower, I love my body. I talk about how beautiful it is. I talk about my arms. I think of my neck. I think I compliment my muscles. I look how long my legs are. She goes, you have over 75 trillion cells that you're always talking to. Talk to them with love. Talk to them with appreciation. Like, how beautiful is that to build up your self-esteem? And then also she told me, when you do something great, applaud. Oh my God, like I hate tech. I'm gonna take that back. Sorry, universe. Cancel, delete. Technology and I in the past have had issues. We're now making friends and we're becoming really aligned with each other. But in the past, when that alignment wasn't so kind, I would be challenged with things. And, I didn't grow up with, I basically love it when my daughter's here with me, because I can say, how do you do this? How do you do that? But I would have issues. And when I figure things out, I go, good job, Rochelle. Oh my God, you're so awesome. You did it. Literally applaud yourself. Give yourself accolades. It's like legit works. And when you speak your name, speak it in high accolades. Like, Rochelle, you are so awesome. And that's so funny because that's something that my daughter always comes up. She goes, "Are you talking to yourself again?" And I do all the time. I said, "Rochelle, you rocked it. Rochelle, you killed that. Well, I didn't kill. Let me again delete. Rochelle, that was beautiful. You really did a great job there." It's so important. It is so important that we build up our self-esteem, and that will also help with fear, conquering fear as well.
Like mini affirmations, basically.
Yes.
Mini affirmations throughout the day.
Yeah, and in fact, the last thing I did is I put a picture of myself, my 8-year-old self, on my computer screen. So when I look at it, I speak to myself as I would my 8-year-old self. How would I speak to myself? With love and compassion and understanding. And it really helps me. You know, it really helps. And being honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie. Don't lie. Because if you're lying to yourself, you're lying to others. And now you're literally sending out that signal. So being honest AF is so important. There's so much in our society that, you know, we just lie about. So don't lie.
Don't lie to yourself too, you know, like I mean, part of also being able to address fear is the awareness of the reality of the situation, like awareness of, oh, I just told myself a lie. You suck at you never have a chance. That's a lie. Because it's something, it's that program running, it's telling you like, oh no, listen, you're getting too, this isn't in our comfort zone, this isn't what we're used to, you're doing too good over here, like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, it's straight up lying to you. And I had like an anxiety attack a while back, and I was like crying, I was freaking out, and I literally just sat there and I was like, your body's lying to you, your body's lying to you, your body's lying to you. And I was able to get out of it because I was like, because that is the truth. That was the truth, not what my mind was telling me. That was the truth. And that definitely, like, you know, a bit of everything mixed. Honestly, you have to have it all, because, and like self-talk, like I try that to my best. I'm like, damn, okay, you looking okay today, you looking, you know, you got to do something, like even fake it till you make it. If you don't really feel it, like fake it till you make it, and keep fighting, man, because that's a hard fight. Fear is a bitch.
And it's also something that I just remind people, it's just a liar. Fear is a liar. It's a liar. It's a liar that you're not powerful to overcome it. It's a lie. In fact, that's why it feels bad. And people are so used, our society, we're so used to feeling bad. We actually think that's because, oh my God, it's really true, it's not going to happen. No, it feels bad because it's a lie. That's why we have emotions. That's how our higher selves and these benevolent beings are actually communicating with us, is to tell us what you're thinking is not true. It's not true at all. And so think the opposite. And in fact, that's what I know. I've heard that before, where it's like, okay, whatever you're doing right now, we're so out of balance. Whatever you're doing, just do the opposite of. Whatever your mind tells you, just do the opposite of.
And it's with anxiety too, though. Have you ever realized, like, it's this generation's obsessed with, like, I'm anxious, I have anxiety. And one thing that I've learned that's really interesting is anxiety is not an emotion. Anxiety is not even real. It's your mind building up possible things, and like, if you just get so in this anxious mode, it's like, okay, you need to stop yourself, because nothing's happening. Nothing's happening right now. Okay, so what is going on? What emotion am I feeling? For me, most of the time, it is fear. You know, well, I'm afraid that if I don't get this done, then this is going to happen. I'm afraid that they're going to think that whatever it is, that's the real thing. And that's what you need to feel, move through, feel what you have to feel, but then let it go. Because a lot of people, they don't address the emotions. I'm anxious, but no, you're afraid, or you feel guilty or something. And then that energy is stuck somewhere in your body. That's why people are giving themselves disease. You know, it's like, you have to be able to address.
Ease of the body. Two words together. Right?
Exactly. Emotion, energy in motion. Like, there's a reason for these things. Like, but it's crazy how that, I feel like that's also a technique to continue, you know, to keep people separated too right now, is like, make them anxious at this and that. It's like, no, we gotta And that exactly comes back to focusing in on yourself. And it's not selfish focusing on it. You're trying to get yourself into the proper state, the proper alignment, so you can do what you were meant to do. So you can help who you're supposed to help, whatever that looks like for each individual person.
Amen, sister. Everything you just said. And I want to respond. It's like you said, feel that. Well, do you realize that animals out in the wild, when they get chased, right? A gazelle's getting chased by a lion or something, what do? There's like,
they shake it off, or they
shake it off. They've actually proven that for human beings to feel an emotion, for it to go through all the sensory steps it needs to go through, takes 90 seconds.
Wow.
So anything past a couple minutes that you're still talking about, you're still feeling, you're still dreading, is something that you've decided to hold on to because your body's most likely gone through it if you've allowed it to go through that process.
If you've allowed it to, yeah.
So 92 minutes, think about this. 2 minutes is all you need to feel something, to be upset. Not that that's it.
Like that's the only,
angry, if I'm angry, I allow myself to be angry. I go through it. And then I'm just like, okay, what's really here for me to learn here? Because it's always something for me. It's never about the other person. It's for me. But clear it. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Be in the present moment. The most important thing is this moment. That's all. You cannot change anything. The future is a farce. The future hasn't even happened. The future isn't even real. And people are talking about the future like, oh, I'm gonna do this when I get better, or I'm gonna plan on this, and I'm gonna really go crazy right now and not live my life and do it. No, you don't. That's not promised to you. You only have right now to deal with. So the dread and anxiety you're talking about is because you're not in the present moment. You're not in the present moment. You're either in your past.
You're bringing the past.
You're bringing the past to the present, or you're in your future, which hasn't even happened yet. So it's like present moment awareness is the thing that could solve like 100% of anxiety. You've got, am I okay in this moment? Am I breathing in this moment? Am I, safe in this moment? That's what it is.
Totally.
So in the present moment, get out of your head, get back in your heart. Our heart is the most important energy center. It's the most important place where we can be. It says something else my last coach told me. She said, we're now, and during this great awakening, it's a great migration from the logical brain, which we've been
the heart,
to move down to the heart. And the heart, actually, the HeartMath Institute in California, they've proven scientifically there are more pathways, or I don't know if they're called signals, that go up to the brain than the brain that comes down to the heart. So the heart is actually the first brain, and we're all information. So the brain is supposed to be servant of the heart, not the other way around.
And right now, pretty much it's like everyone's fighting. It's like this little fight going on between, like, your heart knows when your head's like, oh, I'm doing my own thing. Your heart's like, come on, man, I'm trying to win here. Like, I'm trying to make it through.
Well, the mind is so limited because the mind can only give you advice for what it can physically foresee, what it's done in the past, or what it's seen other people do. Beyond that, the mind is not a very good guide for long-term planning for our purpose in life. Like it's very limited.
Yes,
it's very limited. But the heart can connect to the field. The heart can connect to to God, to our higher purpose, and actually then it will unveil. It can just like open up, and we're like, when we've had that instinct, or we've had something, we're like, we don't know why, but we just know. And that's where we get from the heart. We get that knowing. We get that instant connection to source, to God, to the universe.
I just need more of that heart. Okay. You showed me something that it was like that guy was like, talk to your heart, like it's listening. Like I just found that so cool. Like, like your heart, if it it's your first brain. It's doing all this stuff. Okay, it's keeping you alive. The least you can do is show it a little love. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful to a way to connect back. Just when you're showing your gratitude, hands over your heart, you know, whatever else your gratitude, and show gratitude to your heart, man, because it's guiding you. It's trying to get you through this shit. It's trying to help you.
It's so trying to help. And when we start talking to parts of, like I was saying, if you're showering or bathing, you start talking to parts of your body, you have to understand there are trillions and trillions of cells listening.
Mm-hmm.
So, like all this whole fear, what's going on with COVID, you mentioned that it's raising people's anxiety. Well, the reason why is, again, if you keep people in that fight or flight mode, then their only goal is just safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Survival. They're not thinking about what is my life's purpose. They're not thinking about connecting to God
Mm-hmm.
and all their future dreams and goals are having. They immediately are like, they shrunk down. So their energy field that's normally out there, they've measured the heart field, and I think it's over 6 meters wide. When it's in coherence.
Yes.
But when we're out of balance and we're in fear, well, then that's not the time to be thinking about your dreams and your loved ones. It's time just for survival. So you actually are pulling in that vital life force and you're shrinking it. And, in my hallucination, I do believe that is an agenda, is to get people to shrink and to think that they need this government to survive, that they need to a vaccine for health, that their immune system isn't enough, that God, made a mistake when he designed our bodies and didn't know how to fight off viruses that it's been doing since the beginning of time. So, like, think about that. If you're living in fear, then you're completely out of alignment with yourself. If you're out of alignment with yourself, that you're just setting yourself up for disaster and unhappiness and suffering.
And that's why mindset is so important. That's why, like, when they were creating when we were thinking of our why for HipCat, that was like a big push, was the mindset part, because our family knows the importance of mindset. We've experienced the changes once our mind was changed, once our awareness was risen. Like, it, first of all, remember when, like, I took my mom to Joe Dispenza course because you suggested it, and then it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and then she was like, I don't know what all this is about, and now she's like the biggest Joe fan, meditates all the time. But one, like, action thing that, like, happened right off the bat from just being more understanding of, oh, that's how our bodies work, that's what's going on, that's, this massive connection that we have. And they doubled what they were making at their other business, their business that they've been doing for 20 years. Like, then all of a sudden, oh wait, Shannon's keeping, what's this talk Shannon's doing? And then all of a sudden, then the whole business is all like Joe Dispenza, getting in that vibe. But then the energy raised. Everyone's energy was good. They were just happy to be at work. They were like flowing with ideas. And of course, life still comes and gets in the way, but the more you are aware of what's really going on and what power you have and what the true fight is, the fight within yourself, you know what I mean? Like, then you are able to really make the changes. And again, that's why it's so important for us, to help people in that journey, because that's how they're going to find true happiness. That's what Marketing with Love is about, is because we want to raise the collective energy. We want to be a part of that mission, because I believe it is the most important mission, to raise the collective, everyone work on their self, love more, gratitude. Yes.
Woo! Can I get an amen? Woo! Woo, woo, woo. Your most prized possession is your frequency.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And you will face your fear of rejection. You will face so many pretend fears or whatever projections you want to put out there, because your frequency will get you everything you want. What you just mentioned is, Shannon came back and was like, oh, we're going to do this. Even though she had been in business 20 years, she didn't she didn't necessarily, it is learning new information, but it wasn't really about her learning new information. It was about her raising her consciousness. Yes. And when she raised her level of consciousness, which was her level of awareness, she raised her frequency, she raised her vibration. Mm-hmm. And so then she saw opportunities where she never saw some before. And then the opportunities matched that because they're like, oh, this person has opportunity. So now the opportunities match that frequency that she put out. So it's just not about information, because I know that like we're done the information age. Like it's not a time just to, to have the information, but to actually to apply it, to actually do it. And for like you said, it's to be responsible for that, what we're putting out, taking total responsibility. Mm-hmm. I know that's what Dr. Joe's work is tremendously. I think that's what affected me the most, that changed me the most. Opening my heart, which I'd been afraid to do for so long, for many reasons, and taking full responsibility for everything. Like everything that has happened to us, we have had prior, on a higher soul level, we have either brought that into us because we wanted to overcome that, we wanted to learn that experience, and we wanted to add that to the whole of humanity. And so we're never a victim. We're never a victim. And when I actually learned that changed everything for me, that we are never victims. I thought, wow, okay, now I can look at this, take full responsibility, and now I can go back and take the wisdom from that. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. It's not just knowledge. I mean, because a lot of people are really smart. A lot of people have a lot of knowledge, but what type of wisdom do they have? Mm-hmm. How are they applying that in their life? That's even more important, is the wisdom.
For sure. No, for sure. And by knowing, I just mean more like understanding. When you understand
a greater level of
understanding. When you understand how the brain works, how the neural pathways and the connections, and how the fact that we can change matter. And I even was like, I was talking about that point earlier where it's like the studies that people have done on water, when you speak to water. And it changes it. Like it changes the design. It's usually like these coherent crystal designs when you say things of love and this. And then you say, hate, blah, blah, and it's just these distorted, it's like, there's just so many things that are, another one was Kenya, my little sister, was planting her little garden. And she had like 5 boxes. And out of the boxes, she spoke to one and she's like, please grow. I love you so much. Please grow. And that one's literally 3 times the size of all the other ones. Like the other ones are just coming out and that one's like blossoming. Yeah. Like it's just the power that we have.
Listening. It's the power of your intention. It's the power of your desire. It's the power of your words. It's all part of it. And that was, you were talking about the study of Dr. Emoto. He just died a few years back. And everybody should look at his work. His work was absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah, it was beautiful.
But we just have to remember our power. That's what we're here to do. We got to change the world. Okay, special shout out to
by changing the world.
Change ourselves by changing the world. Okay, special shout out to women. It's our time to rise. Okay. I really do think women are taking over, and I'm ready for it. I'm really ready for it.
Well, we just hit the age of Aquarius, December 2020. Was the age of Aquarius. It was the shift, and it's not even that it's women; it's the feminine energy, because there's a lot of women that may not be embodying that feminine energy, and there's a lot of men that know how to embody the proper feminine energy, right? So it's not really related just to a woman or a man. It's the energy that is now being is brought, Mother Earth, Gaia, so many names she has, is now the age of Aquarius. So you are going to see a feminine lead. You're going to see things where we're ready to receive versus, what was the whole survival of the fittest, Darwinism, going out there and making things happen. The hero's journey is changing. And my girlfriend right now is writing a book called The Shero Journey. It's going to be the Shero's journey, the old Joseph Campbell method of, you know, you go out, you have a desire, you have to slay the dragon, you got to learn all your hard lessons, and you come back and you're, you know, the village welcomes you back with open arms, and then you get it. And that's just no longer true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, the feminine energy is all about receivership.
Mm-hmm.
And when, you know, when you realize how powerful you are, as I'm in the process of embracing my goddess, my feminine energy more and more,
Mm-hmm.
I can just sit back and receive.
Mm.
I actually don't have to do anything to prove my worth. I'm worthy because.
That's beautiful and that's powerful. I have to remember that sometimes.
It's the truth. I had a session with the coach yesterday. I just love her, Katarina, out of Hawaii. And she just said, you know, I want you to put your hand up in your ear. And she goes, your right hand, and say, I'm a goddess on a pedestal. Goddess on a pedestal. And things come to me. And I, like, dude, got so much energy. Come on, Lexi, try it right now. Lift your right hand up. I am a goddess on a pedestal.
I'm a goddess on a pedestal, and shit comes to me. Well, not like shit, but like good shit comes to me.
Let's make that very clear.
Yeah, universe, I'm trying to be a little clear here.
So whenever you say things, you know what someone taught me is you say delete, cancel.
Delete, cancel.
Delete, cancel. Because our words are very
Everything
important.
good comes to me. Okay.
Exactly.
Fixed it.
So it's true. We need to embrace it. It's really important. And I'm trying to work with more women. I love men. I am not a men basher. I'm not one of those things of like, oh, the establishment, and they've been like, women just need to step up and realize and take hold of their power and take hold of who they are. And I work with, you know, I work with women shamans, and my focus is, it does happen to be working with women teachers and leaders, because they have had to be shut down and quieted for so long. The ones that did speak out, that knew about like plant medicine and that knew about healing, were labeled as witches. I mean, that was just a few hundred years ago. They were burned at the stake. They were actually burned alive. So, you know, women that have come back now, they're ready to take that power and not power in an aggressive way, but in that loving, magnificent way.
Yes.
Of guiding and leading again. So I am all about women leadership in any way that I can buy, support woman business. I will choose that first over anything.
That's really cool. Well, thank you for joining us. I feel like we covered a lot. Okay.
I know. I don't even know if we had a subject.
Honestly, I was into all of it because I was just like, yes, yes, yes. And also, I still want my Healy.
Yes, I will show you how to order that. Absolutely.
I'm trying to send those vibes into me. Okay, I'm trying to get all the help. I'm trying to get the archangel. I'm talking about the, you know, the vibrations. Let me get some plant root up in here. Like, I'll take whatever, you know. I'll get it all.
What the heck is
But thank you so much for coming on, and I would love to have you back. Yes,
I mean, this has been really fun. Like, I'm just like thinking of like all this stuff. But I do have a good group of friends that I usually am talking to. But having a fresh way of saying it is really nice. So I love it. Well, yeah, as many times as you want, as much as you want, I will be on, because I just.